So in this video, let's take a look how you can convert any, for example, number or Boolean into a string. This is going to be really important because doing something like this, you're going to have all the methods available for strings in numbers, for example. So let's see, for example, numbers to strings. And let's create a number, let number, and let's add a postal code. We're going to add 90210, and also I'm going to add another one called output. We're going to print this output in the console, but first I'm going to add output. Well, if you say output equal to number and we send this value to the console, you can see that this is a number. This blue color is telling you that this is a number. You can add also type of, and you can see we have a number. So if you want to know, for example, the length of this, and I'm gonna remove this. If you add that length, if you remember, we have that length to check the length of a string. You can see we have undefined because dot length is a method only available for strings. So we have to convert this number into a string. And it's really easy, only add a string right here. A string. And save this. And now you can see we have 5. And you can see we have a string. So this is going to be a valid postal code because it has 5 different numbers. Of course, if the postal code is real, it's going to be a little different. But at least the length of the string is going to be valid, which is going to be 5. You can also validate, for example, the length of a credit card using this same technique. So let's remove this. And I'm gonna, for example, I'm going to add Boolean to a string. You can add something like, I'm gonna add let output equals to true. And if we send this value to the console, you can see we have true and we have Boolean. So again, you can add something like a string, grab this true into a string, like this. And this is going to change this true, and it's going to be also a string. So let's review how you can transform a date into a string. If you remember, for example, if I add output equals new date, the date is going to be an object. But you can add something like output equals to a string, and then we pass this date. And doing this is going to be a string. And doing this, you will have all the methods available for strings into these dates. So for example, you can add something like includes, and then you can pass 2080. Save this and you can see we have true. So for example, in this date, let's say that you have a banking system and you want to check if the client has made any movements in the latest year. You can do something like that. Check for the date and use one of these methods. So I'm gonna remove this. So let's see, for example, how you can convert an array into a string. So let's add something like output equals to an array. 1, 2, 3, 4. Something like this. You can see if I save this, this is going to be an object. Here we have the values. If we add a string and close this string right here, you can see that we convert all the values into a string. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. There is another method called toString, for example, toString. And for example, if I try to use toString into a number, into any, for example, toString, you can see that we have an error. ToString is more used when you have objects. So we're going to add, for example, output equals true toString. And we need to comment this line. So you can see we have true. So this number toString doesn't work, but you can see it works with booleans. Also, for example, if I add something like output equals to an array, 1, 2, 3, toString, save this, you can see it's printing 1, 2, 3. Output equals to, for example, an object. name to string. Save this, and you can see we have object, but it's going to convert this into a string. This to string doesn't work with numbers, but you can see how you can convert numbers into a string using the string function. So in the next video, let's take a look at template literals or template strings. A really big change in how you work with templates in HTML with JavaScript.